It gets quiet here sometimes, contemplative, some of the time. Not always. I mean, it gets very lively. There are lively debates that go on here in our cabin, me and Rosie and our guest Doris. No, we have lively conversations sometimes, and maybe a lot of quiet time. I have a lot of quiet time. I'm not sure what Rosie and Doris do all day long. Well, I'm rather stuporous much of the time, if you must know. And ever since me and Rosie moved down here, near Wheeling, West Virginia, a few miles out of town, we've noticed changes in mortality. I think it's either near or past the Mason-Dixon line that reality changes so radically, so much so that dead people come back to life. Maybe that's a contradiction. Like I'm still around. Rosie's still living. Doris is still living with us. You know, as a sort of long-term permanent guest. It's we're all alive and well. Well, arguably well, but we're alive. Dead people keep dropping by our house. Not all, but most died in the electric chair. Bruno Richard Hauptmann was killed in an electric chair. And legal to kill. Somebody killed Bruno with his own hand, deliberately, knowingly killed Bruno Richard Hauptmann. And it's okay. He's allowed to do it. He got paid, I think. I don't know. Or maybe he volunteered. I think people in those days, they paid a person to hit the switch on the electric chair. But that's a very morbid bit of history. Why talk about shit like that? I'll tell you why. I'm coming to the point. See, some mornings, I'm just in this sort of natural stuporous state. Well, me and Rosie, we use drugs. We have, and Doris, Rosie and Doris are addicted to drugs, so that will explain some aspect of our situation by itself. But that's not a very articulate explanation for three wonderful people like us living near West Virginia, near Wheeling. It's a forgotten zone. It's an occupied territory people aren't talking about. That's why I'm talking about it, because no one else is. And me and my common law spouse, Rosie, we're living there. Bruno, he's dead, but he's been visiting. Dead people visit us, me, yes, I know. Most mornings I'm sort of in a drug-induced stupor, and Bruno knocks on the front door. I let him in, and he's a rather quiet person. He likes to talk. He likes to talk in his own element. Like one day he said to me, Bruce, why do Americans insist on talking? Why don't Americans sit quietly together as they do in my country? He's a German. Back in Germany, crowds love to sit quietly together. What the fuck's wrong with them? Anyway, no wonder Hitler killed so many people. Jesus fucking Christ. They don't talk much. No, Bruno's contemplative. He comes over, and he was curious. He was asking me honestly. He'd been killed in the fucking electric chair. You know, he's entitled to ask a few questions. You know, I don't mind helping a guy out a little. He wanted to know why Americans talk so much. He said in his country it was customary to sit quietly with guests. They like to gather their thoughts together. They might talk and they sit quietly together then. They're a contemplative people. And he might have, or may not, he either did or didn't kill the Lindbergh baby. I like the guy, Bruno Richard Hauptmann. I kind of liked him. He's one of my, I'd say he's sort of like my kind of person. Like one time I just asked him, Bruno, did you kill the Lindbergh baby? And as close as he really came to smiling, like I guess it qualified as a small smile. I mean, you know, he had good bones. He was a rather nice-looking gentleman, frankly, and he took on this sly little smile. It's about as lively as I'd ever seen him. And he said, "Well, Bruce, I'm not comfortable answering your question." And he laughed a little bit. He's not the most risible guy, and he doesn't laugh much. But I guess that's why I liked him so much. Why I was such a wonderful guest. I think when someone is truly dour by nature, and they get a little laugh just withholding a secret, like maybe they killed the Lindbergh baby, maybe they didn't. Maybe it was some dreadful conspiracy. Maybe all of America's hopes and dreams, the need for a hero, the great white hope, Charles Lindbergh, Americans have to believe he's a hero. And nobody would have given a shit if he was a white supremacist or a Nazi sympathizer. I think he favored the Nazi view, that Lindbergh, that is. There's palaver among intellectuals that the Lindbergh baby may have been learning disabled or stupid. And it's believed by some Lindbergh may have wanted the little baby dead or may have assisted in his killing, might have killed him. There may have been an elaborate plot to pin it on Bruno. Or Bruno may have built the famous ladder that was used in the kidnapping. He was purported to have built a ladder, whatever, to the stars. No, baby Lindbergh's window. Fucking creep. That's disgusting. He built a ladder, a folding ladder. It took skill. I think one of the things that convicted poor fucking Bruno was he was a carpenter by trade. So when they discovered the fucking ladder that had been used, he had the skill that was needed to build it. I like Bruno Richard Hauptmann for some reason. I like the way he dressed. I've seen photographs of him for True. Not for True, he's been visiting me and Rosy. Me and Rosy is a bullshit story I'm making up as it goes along. But getting back to the story, dead people do not visit me or anyone else anytime, but in my story, Bruno Richard Hauptmann visits regularly in the morning right after I shoot up Dilaudid. But that's a sordid part of our story. I have these delusions in which dead people visit. Anyway, no, I was going to tell you about the time I asked Bruno if he killed the Lindbergh baby. He smiled a little bit. He said he'd prefer not to talk about that and laughed a little bit. It's just that he's been visiting regularly, and that's the most laughter I'd ever gotten from him. It's like a gift of... Alan Sherman, I think, wrote a book called A Gift of Laughter. It was a book my mother and father owned. It was on a bookshelf, and I might have thumbed through it as a kid. It was so long ago. And I think we explained why he needed to make people laugh or whatever, or why he liked to laugh. The importance of laughter. Getting a little guffaw or chuckle or chortle out of Bruno Richard Hauptmann, I felt was a decent accomplishment. And all I had to do was say, "Did you kill the Lindbergh baby?" Anyway, this is another installment of Me and Rosy, the talk format bullshit story about what happened to me and a fictitious common law spouse and other people as well. Thanks for listening.